Welcome back. I'm joined by Championship correspondent Pascal Lemaitre with the final game of the season between Middlesbrough and Brighton. Pascal, start with the home side. Can no longer go out automatically after losing 4-3 to Fulham last time out.
Yeah, it was a massive game for them. They knew that Watford had won in the lunchtime game, so there was more pressure on them to sort of keep alive any chance they had of going up automatically. In a very entertaining game. They weren't at their best at all. Borough, they fell behind, sort of 2-0 and 3-1 behind. It never really looked like they would get back in, and then they did really great fight backs. They were down to 10 men. George Friend slid in on Roddy-Aga. I think it was Roddy-Aga. He was turning back away from goal, but he was still basically through on goal. So it's hard to say that it's definitely not going to get rescinded. But the red card was a little bit harsh. Friend, obviously, now he can't play in this last game of the season, but he will be there for the playoffs because it's only a professional foul, so it's only a one-game ban. So he can play in the playoffs, which is where Middlesbrough are going to be. They're going to be in the playoffs, but we don't know quite yet. It's going to be third or fourth. They're going to be. They're 1 point above Norwich at the moment, but Norwich have the better goal difference. So if Norwich better Middlesbrough's result on the final day, then they'll go up to third, Borough to fourth, and then it'll be one of Ipswich, Derby, Brentford, or Wolves that they'll be playing. So certainly, I think disappointing in the end, considering where Middlesbrough were. They had that big win over Norwich earlier this month, which gave them a real chance of getting into the top two. But in the end, Watford and Bournemouth just too strong really for either Middlesbrough or Norwich. That Fulham game, bizarre the way they went down to 10 men, and they fought back brilliantly, got it back to 3-3, and then Karanke started throwing. It was the Middlesbrough's winning goal in extra time, in injury time. Sorry, it was from a corner where the goalkeeper got thrown up. He said, "Right, go up there, Konstantopoulos, get up there." But a weird decision, because when you're drawing a game, if you're losing a game, it makes sense to throw the keeper up because there is nothing to lose. But here, they lost a crucial point there, which, as it stands, if they'd got a point in that game, they'd still be in with a chance of leapfrogging Bournemouth on the final day, which I think Karanka maybe didn't quite work out at the time, but it was the wrong decision in the end to throw him up. I mean, it's still unlikely that they could have leapfrogged either Watford or Bournemouth, but certainly a mistake on their part. McCormack goes through on the break and scores the winner. So, it was a disappointing result in the end, but they still look like they've got a good character in the team, and they'll certainly be one of the favourites in the playoffs.
To Brighton, it's been a really poor season for them.
Yeah, woeful considering where they were last season. They've been in the playoffs the last 2 years. Last season they were 6th, 72 points they got. They currently sit 20th on 46 points, so it's a considerable drop this season from where they were last season. The biggest problem has been goals. Their top scorer is still centre-back Lewis Dunk with 7 goals, so when your defender's your top scorer, it shows just where the problems lie. They've had no win in 6 in their recent form, and just 3 goals in 10 games. I mean, that's the big problem, goals. They lost Joa to Leicester last summer. He was their top scorer. I think he got 20, 21 last season in the league. So to lose him was a big blow. They never really replaced him. Chris O'Grady, he looked okay last weekend because they played Watford last Saturday lunchtime. They competed for long periods. The first goal they conceded to Deeney was very disappointing. Greg Halford headed it up rather than away, and then the ball dropped and it fell to Deeney, who stuck it away because he's so deadly in the box. But after that, Brighton competed. They had chances in the game. They could have maybe got back on level terms, and they're pushing for the equaliser. Watford got the second on the counter. So 2-0 certainly. I think it flattered Watford a little bit. Brighton weren't too bad in that game, but it's another defeat, and you look at their season, 20th in the table, and if results go against them this weekend, they could drop to 21st and be the team sitting just above the bottom 3. So they can't go down. The 3 relegated teams have already been decided, but if they finish in that place just above the bottom 3, so disappointing, and a lot of work to do for Chris Hughton this summer.
The victory for Middlesbrough will ensure, well, they can obviously still finish second, but very unlucky swing. Probably going to finish third if they win above Norwich. Think we'll win this one?
Yeah, I think they'll secure third place, and they'll certainly hope that, I reckon, that Ipswich don't get a win, because they'd much rather play Ipswich than Derby in the playoffs, I think, because I think Derby, even though they haven't been great recently, I think they've got certainly the strongest squad, and Middlesbrough recently played Ipswich and beat them 4-1, so I think they'd rather play Ipswich, get third, and hope that Ipswich drop down to 6th, and I think here they'll win 2-0.
So also going for a 2-0 Middlesbrough win.